But first up this morning, a Darwin school has banned mobile phones after the bashing of a 12-year-old girl was filmed and sent to other students. The ban could soon be extended to every school in the territory. So
should all schools become mobile phone-free zones? Dr. Andrew Campbell is a lecturer in psychology at the University of Sydney. He's with us now. Morning to you. What do you think of a ban on mobile phones in schools?
I'm actually surprised it's taken a while to get to this. They're not just phones anymore. They're actually becoming multifaceted instruments for technology. So we've got email, we've got photos, we've got music, we've got all sorts of different types of movie cameras as well. So in some respects, I think it should be taken seriously. In another sense, we should probably think about how we should educate our youth on how to use phones appropriately.
All right, now parents at the school are concerned about children's safety, of course, particularly when they're travelling to and from school, that they need their phone there to be in touch with their parents. If this is granted, the phone must be handed in during the school day. Do you think that's reasonable?
I think it's fairly reasonable because we've got to look at what they're doing during the school day, and the use of a mobile phone is not really necessary, and even to call their parents in the middle of the day unless there's an emergency or something. And if we look at it before mobile telephones came along, you used to go to the principal or something like that.
We
did fine, yeah.
Okay. Let's move on now, but still talking about the phone technology, I guess. We're being told that Australians are addicted to new technology. According to the latest research, we're taking up new technology in droves, and we're getting addicted, right?
Well, definitely we're taking up in droves. Probably no different to most other countries that are taking up the technology at the same sorts of rates. But addiction is a very powerful term to use. We've got to look at it in the sense of what is addiction. And a lot of people would say that really it's a dependence or an obsession rather than an addiction, which means that we could possibly have negative side effects. But there are those who could be addicted.
Well, what are the warning signs to look out for? If I'm sitting having dinner with my family and I'm looking at my phone over on the other table waiting for it to ring or to buzz, is that an addiction?
Definitely not. It's more of an obsession that you're waiting for something to happen, that you've actually been behaviourally programmed to wait for something to happen on that phone and that you're anxious to see it ring. But if you're addicted, it's more likely that you would rather spend time on the phone than time with your family.
Right, okay.
Okay, so what are the concerns there? If we look at that, what are the safety concerns? What are the general concerns for our for our well-being?
Well, the safety concerns are obvious in the sense of if we look at it away from mobile phones, look at the internet, there's definitely predatorial behaviour, there's definitely antisocial behaviour online as well. There's many different classifications and terms called flaming, where you actually attack people online in chat rooms and in bulletin board rooms, things like that. And that's antisocial, and you don't want to promote that. On a sort of a social level, we've got to look at how to balance it. We've got to look at how the technology can be blended into society and used as a functional tool, which most times it is, but some people overuse it.
Can you cure a technology addiction, or is your fear that as technology becomes more omnipresent in everything we do, that we just won't be able to get away from that?
I think to say to cure an addiction is hard, because if it is an addiction itself, it means it's an in-ground behaviour, and we need to lessen it somehow. But that need, that want, is always going to be there.
From a psychological point of view, what about the isolation that this is creating? We're seeing people on buses and trains with their iPods in, people always on the phone, they might go home, they're not talking to their wives, their husbands, they're on the internet. You know, there's a terrible fear of isolation, isn't there?
There is. Well, I guess what you could see is that there's a lot of people that choose to be around or using the technology rather than interacting face to face.
What does that say about us?
It's saying that we're seeing a generational shift in the way we actually communicate and the way we actually use the technology on a daily basis. So once again, there needs to be some sort of balance, and some sort of training needs to be put in place, either in the home itself or in schools, or some sort of social awareness program.
And we're not talking television here. We're not saying people turn the noise off now.
Not necessarily, no. I think it's quite safe to say that television addiction was disproven some time ago.
There you go. So stay right there. Don't be thinking about it. Good to see you again.
Thanks
very
much
for coming in. Bye-bye. Okay.
Now, also making news this morning, there are concerns young girls could be asking for trouble with a new stunt being seen on our beaches, bikini